Hi everyone, this is Fight to Inhale with Solana, aka the Salty Mermaid. Just wanted to kind of give everybody a bit of an update. I am feeling much better than I did last week. I finished the antibiotic that the doctor prescribed yesterday, so mostly been doing a lot of drinking of water and increasing my probiotics to help get me back to where I need to be. So this is the first time I've taken this particular antibiotic. I don't know if I mentioned in a previous video that they gave me. It's called cephalexin. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right. Also, it's also known as Keflex or Kflex. It's Keflex. It's the same family as ceftazidime. So I think that kind of surprised me because I've had Septaz both IV infusion and orally. IVs work better for me, but I never had any sort of weird reaction to either one. And the cephalexin, I feel like I'm talking tongue twisters here. It made me have nausea, other irritations. I felt very exhausted, and I also felt, for lack of a better term, fuzzy brained. I thought the fuzzy brain part was just maybe my painkillers, but then I stopped what I was using and just using Tylenol, and before also what I was using never affected me before, and I was still having the weird fuzzy brain, like having a little bit of trouble with basic math. I went to a quilting event, and normally I can do work from left to right or right to left. It's kind of a cool little quirk I have, but that for that day, I honestly could not figure out right to left to save my life, so I mostly just did left to right. There's little things that you don't notice that you do regularly until you can't do it, and it was kind of weird. But like I said, I feel a lot better. The incision area still hurts. Bruising has gone down quite a bit. Still can't sleep on my left side, which is really hindering my sleeping, because that's actually the side I sleep on. I have some issues with my right hip, and so I can't sleep on my right hip, my right side for very long, or else I start to hurt. But right now, if I roll over to my left side, then it really hurts and I wake up. So just trying to get through that. Today I was pretty happy. I was able to get some light house cleaning done. Not like, overkill. Just was happy to be able to get dishes and wipe down some counters and some sweeping. By then it was just like, okay, I'm sore, so let's take a break. Because normally I do Tuesdays and Thursdays, big old, not big, but a lot of trying to get things clean and tidied up, because those are days that I tend to have students over, and I like my house to be somewhat presentable. I don't want to look, like it's completely lived in by wild animals. Sorry guys. I have 2 dogs and a husband, so you can guess how long things can stay clean. And so yeah, trying to clear off dog hair off of stuff is kind of a nightmare. And so I try to make it a habit, especially for when I have students coming over, trying to make sure things look nice and tidy and, clean. And then last week it was just not happening, which is tough because with a lung transplant, you want things to be clean, but when you really don't feel good, pulling that off is just a bit difficult. And my husband was out of town, so we had 2 for 1, so he couldn't even help me with any of that. Luckily, he's home this week. Woohoo! And so he's been trying to tackle things on the honey-do list. So my backyard's looking good. He mowed the lawn. And don't get me on the topic of lawns, because I still think they're some weird, pointless thing to have. I know other people would, beg to differ, but for me, I see no point in putting all this effort into a lawn when you're not going to eat it and you don't own anything that does eat it. So when I'd rather, throw some trees out there, have some good garden with some nice edible food growing. Don't want anybody having anything mistaken for that. Um, or, I do have a soft spot for Japanese lilies, so growing those would be awesome too. But just regular lawn for me, it doesn't like make me happy. I don't think it makes my husband too happy either. But we do rent, and so we're trying to keep it looking nice for our landlord. And then the other downside was I was gonna do some jam making last week, but I was just too out of it. So hopefully my husband is hoping to pick a bunch of oranges either sometime later this week or over the weekend, and then next week I will be making orange jam, which it's really good and doesn't tend to last us the whole year. So kind of try to get that going. And see, Thursday I have my endocrinology appointment. I am hoping, thumbs up. I am actually going to ask about seeing if I'm a good candidate for one of the more continuous blood glucose monitoring type systems where some of you, some CF patients and other people with diabetes probably have already had these, but they'll have like it looks like kind of like a small patch that you have for 1 to 2 weeks, and all that's going on is it's monitoring your sugar on a constant basis and giving the information to another device. And I'm hoping that will help me figure out as soon as my lows start. That way I'm not waiting and going through about my business and then suddenly feeling shaky, because it's I might take my sugar an hour before and look fine, and then all of a sudden I just plummet and I'm shaking, and I'll check and try to figure out how the heck I got so low. So I'm going to check and see if I'm a good candidate for one of those monitoring systems, which will be kind of cool for me. So we'll see. And I think that's kind of it on this side at the moment. It doesn't seem like me having to really do a lot of resting has harmed my lung function too much. We'll find out tomorrow, since I have a student who is only like half a mile away, so I usually walk there, and it's not a big deal. Normally, I can walk it and carrying a bag with tutoring supplies, no problem. So we will see if that's the case tomorrow. You can always expect lung function to go down a little when you haven't been able to move around too much, and but I also expect it, if it has gone down at all, I expect it to go back up as if nothing happened. So shouldn't be too big of a deal there. And then yeah, that's kind of it for right now. Been enjoying my new scarf and my new blanket, so those are kind of nice to have. And especially here, I know everybody thinks California is all the land of sunshine and heat waves and all that. We do get heat waves, especially where I live. But right now we've been just getting dumped on with rain. Like I got up in the middle of the night last night and it was pouring. So we're just, rain has been happening a lot, and we haven't had any sign that it's truly spring just yet. So that's hasn't been too fun for us, especially having 2 dogs. They don't like to be cooped up too long. And I actually have one telling me that she wants to go outside right now. So I think this is